Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
But yeah, so that's been going on. So everything's all good. But V, why don't we get into something we like to do around here? You know what I'm saying? It's that time to talk about Bachelor stuff on our show. Yes. This is the show that provides you all the Bachelor drama you've been missing in the off season, because that's what we're officially in now. But before we get talking about Bachelor Nation, YouTube, go ahead, subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content, just like this. And if you just did, wow, huge shout out to you. Ooh wee, air horns for you. We got to give a huge shout out to our comment crew, as always, the Nancy Drew crew. You guys are always the best. I mean, come on, man. Like, you guys are just going to let them run the comments? I mean, they're doing a great job. What if there's another, West Side
it's like West Side Story. Yeah. They're going to start snapping in the comments.
Nancy Drew, you're Nancy Drew all the way. From your first cigarette. But yeah, so, shout out to Catherine Ann, Chelsea Allen, Kathleen Kent, as always. I love you guys. We love you guys. Keep it coming strong. Show them what, invite those other commenters. Let them know, and if you want a shout out on the show, all you got to do is comment below. Let us know what you think of our review of, what this episode, we're going to be talking about Bachelor Nation since the show's not on. But, we're in the off season coming up with maybe new ideas for more videos to send you guys way, just so we give you more content and stuff. The weekly stuff is kind of like what we've been on, but we got some more things we can give, so we'll get into that. But V, what's going on in Bachelor Nation? Where do we start?
Well, we're gonna start with the quickest ever little rekindle to dekindle, I guess you can say. Rekindle to dekindle. But so on the after show, the reunion show for Bachelor in Paradise, we saw Jill and Jacob get back together, run off into the sunset together. Everything was looking cute. They, did their little tweets afterward, their little posts afterward, being like, and then literally a week or so after that, they were already done so. And I guess, Jill has said something to the degree of the distance and some standard things weren't really cutting it for her, just lack of trust with something happening, them being long distance. She didn't really elaborate on that. And then Jacob posted a very, heartfelt little posty post saying, all these things about how, you deserve to be loved. Right now, I deserve to be alone. Jill, good luck on your journey, angel. All this stuff about how, he obviously wasn't ready for a relationship, and she very much so was. And
I think it kind of taps into what I was talking about last week about how why do you have to stay in Bachelor Nation? I understand why they do it, because it's they get the publicity, they get
right.
You're worth more in Bachelor Nation if you're coupled up with someone from Bachelor Nation. That's that's it. But, I know guys out there definitely probably just they definitely want to tap into the girls that just want to talk to them, when they're in regular public, So I could imagine, just seeing what Jacob was like on the show. I think we were specifically talking about Jacob last week, actually, with this and stuff. When we saw the show, he was dating everybody and anybody.
Yeah, he went on dates with people or hung out with everybody, and Shanae twice, Kate, whoever. So Kira, I don't know. So definitely, wish them both the best. I think, obviously they just weren't really ready for what they wanted. But more stuff has come out about...
I just want to say, Jill, the glow up of these people sometimes.
Jill looks great. And Jill, I feel is still true to herself, though, too. She isn't she doesn't look like... I feel sometimes the glow up for a lot of these women from the Bachelor Nation side is a lot of plastic surgery, and you know, I feel like she still looks like relatively like natural or anything like that, but like still just like, you know, she looks more confident. It's like the confidence boost I feel like that I've gotten from her.
Confidence is beautiful.
Amen, brother.
Yes.
But speaking of other folks from the beach, Aaron's been getting, you know, hung out to dry for different allegations of dating two girls prior to being on the show at the same time. I guess there's been, you know, they figured out their overlap, and they were texting each other and whatever, and that all came out via Reality Steve. And then Genevieve has said on different podcasts in the past like week or so how she's like, it all makes sense to me now, seeing all that stuff, like seeing those text messages, seeing those whatevers, like those receipts. She's like, it makes sense to me how he made sure to like leave the beach single, because he couldn't be leaving the beach with a girlfriend or, you know, very much so not an engagement, because he told at least one of those girls that he had been dating prior to the show that he was coming back for her. So definitely gets messy there. And I think he is dating, I don't know if he's dating one of those prior girls still now, because there's been like posts and things of them together post the filming of the show, or if he's dating potentially somebody new right now. But he does definitely have somebody else in his life now that is definitely not Genevieve. So,
yeah, I mean, I saw a little bit of her talking, and it's just kind of sad because it's like, you know, I think she wants to like not. She obviously really liked him. You know, the biggest problem is like, you know, just like kind of saying stuff like "I love you" just to like look good on TV. And you're just like playing with people's emotions at that moment. And, you know, she wants to save face, but obviously she's doing like what most people would do, is like trying to get all the facts. So she's like been talking to, you know, the girl, one of the girls at least, and getting all her details of Aaron. You know, I don't know. I really don't. I don't mess with Aaron like that. Like, he just kind of seems like a little bit of a manipulator, you know?
He definitely is a player. I mean, I don't think you can really, because I really don't think his bro thing is too much. It's like a bit, but I don't think it's, you can't be as hard in that bro paint without also being like kind of a fuck boy. Like, there's too much overlap there. Like, it's only because if it was just a bit, you know, I don't think it'd come off the same way, but it's definitely not just a bit.
I mean, these I think a lot of these people just be feeling themselves after being on TV and stuff, you know? So it's like, I don't know. Aaron, what's the point of him going back in Paradise if he already had a girl? Just to be on TV?
Just to be on TV, I guess. And I think, you know, his other half, James, has like an actual new girlfriend that isn't Bachelor Nation either right now. So, you know.
Well, happy family. What else we got going on?
The big thing that came out last week was Greg and Victoria on Nick Viall's podcast. I listened to most of it. I do think, like, you know, there's some questions around like how biased is it to have like your friends on your podcast, you know, to tell like their side of the story kind of bit. There's something to that. So, like, I think you can always take everything with a grain of salt, because even though, you know, Nick started off the podcast before they got into the interview being, like, very much so, like, I mean, people know me as being, like, that friend that's going to still call my friends out on stuff, like, no matter what, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, okay, sure. But, I mean, listening to the podcast and, like, just seeing, like, the different recaps and stuff of it, they, you know, cleared it up as very much so that 3 weeks after they got back from the beach, Victoria and Johnny, you know, they had their first happy couples weekend, because that's what they do with any of these shows. They do the happy couples weekends where, you know, they have to be like hidden, get to have their time together, whatever. And that first weekend was when they were watching whatever was airing from Gabby's season, where Johnny was on, and he made a comment about how, you know, He had a shaven face in the show. He's like, man, I wish, like, I feel like I look better with facial hair. Like, maybe if I had, like, half joking, half not, I guess said something to the degree, from Victoria's perspective, said something to the degree of, like, I feel like if I had a beard during Gabby's show, maybe I would have been the Bachelor. And I guess, you know, Victoria responded, like, was kind of, like, feeling not okay about that because, you know, that's her fiance at this point. And then, of course, she made, you know, a comment being all like, well, you know, I was top 3 on my season as well. Like, I don't really think, like, they have it all figured out. Like, I don't really think facial hair was going to make the difference for you. And he's all like, oh, yeah, that's coming from the home wrecker. And that's sort of like when they got into their big fight. She went outside, talked on the phone to her friend, came back in. He went outside, talked on, you know, he talked on the phone to his friend that she over here. And I guess that's when she threw the wine glass out the door. In her perspective, she said she just threw it, not at him, just like threw it out the door just to like whatever, which, okay, still. And then, you know, she used that as a whole, like, obviously this is like what makes it a toxic relationship. Like, I hated myself for even doing that. Like, that's not the person I want to be, that it's resulting into me doing this, that, or the other, blah, blah, blah. And like, I knew at that point that we had to be done because, like, you know, because he had called me the, like, whatever, and they had been going to therapy and doing all this, that, or the other, and they pretty much tried to end it there. And then I guess he still, like, really wanted them to work on it. So they had another discussion. That was like in August. And then I think they had another discussion in September, she said, around his birthday, because he went to Nashville with all of his pals, and that's where she lives, for his birthday. And like, he even like tried to like come on in with his bag and everything to try to stay the night. And she was all like, no, that's not happening. And they like, you know, ended it for a second time. Like, they were already, I guess, broken up at that point. They had ended their engagement. And that's when that happened. Then I guess the party at Nick Viall's place with Natalie, his girlfriend and stuff, happened at the end of September too. And that's like when they had already broken off their engagement. And, you know, she, I guess, because people were all saying that that's when she really rekindled with Greg. And I guess in her perspective, she barely ever even talked to Greg at that. And then it was after that they started talking again. But
yeah, I mean, it really depends on who you believe. I mean, it's one perspective, you know, it's probably somewhere in between his version and her version.
Yeah.
I would lean towards probably she definitely was emotionally probably cheating.
For sure.
And, you know, because she had been talking to Greg before even Paradise, you know, and
yeah,
it's one of those situations where she can move on really easily from people. And, you know, Johnny probably was like trying to really think that there was still a chance and stuff. And
right.
Johnny wouldn't have been the Bachelor at all.
No.
For sure. That's one thing that's not allowed.
Not at all.
Yeah. I mean, he's good looking and nice dude on TV or whatever, but not like Bachelor material, I feel like. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think more of everything, you know, as time goes on, we'll see if Greg and Victoria last. You know,
I guess they're trying to move in together. He's going to move to Nashville with her. Yeah,
which, you know, kind of expedites my reasoning of they're not going to. You know, moving in like that is just not.
To me, that sounds crazy, bonkers, nuts. I guess he, like, you know, his relationship ended as she was, like, in Paradise, and he was, like, hoping and praying that she would come home from Paradise single because he was really into her. And I guess, like, even though I guess she was the one that reached out to him, he was, like, he's the one who's, like, already, like, full on, like, falling in love with her again at this point.
Sure.
Like, they're smitten kittens, which I'm like,
because they're rebounds for each other. And, you know, if he's doing.
They are, though. That is the truth. They really are.
Yeah. Yeah. And if he was, you know, liked his ex-girlfriend as much as he says, you know, look what he did with his last girlfriend. He's just moving on to a new girl like that fast, moving into. Just think about what that girl feels like. It's like only been a couple months and you're moving in with a new girl, you know, so there's that. I mean, Yeah, the way I look at it is like when you got people hating on you and you're feeling like this, like it's really easy to lean into each other for like
trauma bonding.
Yeah, exactly. So, but to be honest, like I would be lying if I didn't say that like Victoria will post like a video of her and Greg and stuff, and I can see some cute stuff there. Like, you know,
I definitely think they're cute together.
Yeah. I mean, he looks like he's like letting his guard down with her. She's doing the same. And, if they want to be together, that's on them, but I
definitely think they might have something there. I think obviously they live in a space that makes it seem like they're like, I don't know why people think it's crazy that we went to Rome for our first date when I got engaged after how many weeks, like in Paradise. I'm like, yeah, but like that's like a forced situation for that. I'm like, you didn't have to go to Rome as a first date. Like,
were they talking about them already going to therapy together?
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, I know as an advocate for therapy.
I am indeed.
Do you go into therapy like right starting into a new relationship?
I don't know. I don't know if you go into therapy starting into a new relationship, depending on things like that. But I think it's important. Like if you before maybe getting married, that you potentially, if you feel like there's anything like that, like proactive couples therapy sessions and things like that to really make sure you have things on lock before that. I mean, currently my partner goes to therapy on his own and I go to therapy on my own. So I think that's a great start for us personally. But,
could you imagine going to therapy together?
I mean, at this point, no, because it would seem a little preemptive. I would think if we, lived together and, a dynamic changed and something, and we needed that third party to help us get through that. If we, really cared about moving forward, then yes. Like I have friends that are getting married soon, and they're in couples therapy together to make sure.
That's kind of like, in the Catholic Church, it's kind of like what they do. It's like you kind of get the marriage because you want to make sure. But I don't know. To each their own. They seem like they're talking about their therapy sessions like openly, which I don't know if that's
I didn't hear that part. I didn't get to that part. But because I just know she talked a lot about her therapy sessions with Johnny, but
yeah, so I think what my biggest takeaway is that like I just don't really like Nick. Like, he seems so obviously biased and he tries to come off like he's not. Like,
and I can't take Nick seriously as someone to take any sort of dating advice from either. And that's like what he's made his money off of now. So that's kind of where I sit with that one.
And he just so like promoting the fact how many views he got from this. He's like, people say they don't care, but this has been like the most views I've gotten with this interview and stuff. It's like, all right, well, what is going to be your next big interview? Like, it's only downhill from here. If like,
you got on your friends moments after they were like making big news on a very popular show that got you your fame. Of course, people who are interested in that stuff are gonna listen and watch. So of course you've got an audience.
But
like, are they gonna keep coming back? No.
Johnny was smart. He would just write a book. Yeah, Victoria should have done that. Victoria should have wrote a book, and I bet you she would have made like mad money. But instead, she wanted to, just give it for free to Nick. I'm sure he maybe paid her or something. I don't know. But if she just did it for free, that's like crazy.
Yeah, I don't know.
If there's that many people interested in it, write a book and tell us like your journey and like, not just that, but like there's other things in your life that I think would be interesting that people would.
I think for Victoria, especially with like just her journey throughout these different shows and like stuff like that. Bachelor Nation fans would eat that shit up because like she's,
so that's a move for me. But I think Johnny could like totally like piggyback off of that and write his own little book about the experience and probably just like tell his version of the story, because like if he hasn't told his version of the story like where it's completely clear, like, you know, I think there's a lane for that. So that's just my advice. Anything else in Bachelor Nation we want to talk about?
Yeah, so Marlena, who was on Clayton's season, she was the Olympian. She, you know, tweeted something about how, you know, how I always give people the benefit of the doubt, but when I met Shake from Love Is Blind tonight, and the first thing he asked me if I was verified, like, he's for the street, y'all can have him, like, blah, blah, blah. And so then he reposted that to his story after taking a screenshot of, you know, him reacting to a story of hers and her saying, nice meeting you. And then she had to like spill the whole tea on the story of being like, you know, she was at some sort of club event, whatever. She met like one guy and then she took a picture with him, whatever. And then she was, she was with this dude when she went up and met Shake. And, you know, she was like, they were making jokes with each other. And then she said that she wanted a picture with Shake, and he he's like, let me take the picture, took it in Instagram and tagged himself in the story and posted it, whatever, like pretty much like did the whole thing on her phone for him. And then, you know, and then he like asked how many followers she had and like asked if she was verified, went to find it out, and then asked like who the dude she was with was. And she was like, oh no, just met him, like whatever. And he like, I guess picked her up and said, oh, it's fair game then, and like put her down, and then, you know, was kind of weird to her. And so so he's out here doing like his Instagram stories being like, oh, I see how it is, like you're gonna act like this way for Twitter, for social media, but this is how you wear it. But he was like using like, you know, the fact that he tagged himself in her story as like his proof. It was very bizarre, but it's just like, I don't know what Shake is trying to prove, but
I mean, it's just like one of those people that cares about their followers and, you know, being seen, like that Miami thing. Like there's a whole bunch of factors there. I mean, he's just, you know, out for fame and probably to grow his own businesses and stuff. And, you know, I'm so happy I'm kind of out of that game. Who knows if I'd ever have to get back into it, like care about who's following me and stuff. But like, it's just something that's so like something I don't care about that much anymore.
Right.
You know,
same. I know it's funny. Sometimes when I get like DMs from like, you know, those bots or like accounts that are like, let us help you grow your account. I'm like, why? Why?
I mean, it's wild out there. Like it's kind of sad, you know? And the sad part is I'm not even sad for society. It's like sad that like someone like me can even get caught up in it, you know? And just looking back, like, you know, I've detached myself from a lot of social media so much. You know, I don't even know. Like I probably posted of like probably like twice or maybe even 3 times in the last year or something like that. And it's really just like a shout out to my girlfriend for her birthday, like
your nephew, like family stuff, like family friend stuff here and there. Just like memories.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, but significant memories, not even like just memories anymore. It's like my nephew is just like nice to go back and scroll every year and have the same hashtag and see that. Like that's why I do that, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you could say the girlfriend one was a soft launch, you know, and it was a hard launch actually, but
no.
But yeah,
I mean you had like soft launched her before.
Yeah, but you know,
at that point, if like people didn't know that you guys were dating at that point, then it's like, all right.
Right, but now everyone can know. So it's like, yeah. But Shake, man. Love Is Blind. I feel like a new Love Is Blind is coming soon, huh?
I think they might be filming the next one. I forget where they're doing the next one. But
Well, that's pretty much what we got this week with Bachelor Nation news. Not bad for some off-season stuff to talk about. Let us know if you want us to talk about something specifically, maybe next week. Let us know in the comments, and we'll get into it.
Yeah.
What do you think? You think Jill and Jacob made the good couple? Do you think that they look good together? Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Are you on Team Genevieve or are you on Team Aaron? Like, do you think it's okay to go into paradise with some backups, just in case after you get off? Let us know.
But should you be dating two of them at the same time?
Yeah, let us know. Are you a fan of Nick Viall? Do you like him? Let us know.
You take his advice seriously? Would you go to him for dating advice?
I'm sure some people would, but I want to know if you would. Definitely shout out to our new subscribers. Shout out to anybody that's subscribing. Let us know that you're listening, and we're just going to keep coming with more content in the off season. So there you go.
Future Bachelor Podcast.